that are going on, and I'm going to review to you what exactly each one of these planets in the sky are doing, how they're so epic and rare in their configuration with other planets, and how this might be impacting you. So, the first thing that I want to say is there's nothing I've seen ever like this before. And I feel that in the big picture, even though it might take months and years to play out, and where we'll really see the ramifications of what happened this summer to everybody, but the configurations of these planets are creating breakthroughs. So if you can just think of the word breakthrough, liberation, acceleration, honesty, transparency, leveling up, expecting more out of our personal lives, out of ourselves, and out of the freedom, the liberation, and the advancement that we want to personally, spiritually, and globally experience. That is the big picture of what's going on starting July. Some of these planetary configurations began a year ago, June, July, August, September 2025. They've been accelerating, and then new planets have joined the power group. It's almost like a sort of a superhero group team of planets that have come to like accelerate the planet Earth. So we're going to go into each one of these, and I'm just going to read all my notes. I want to go into my notes this time and not just do it impromptu, because there are so many things I want to make sure I'm not going to miss here in this cycle. So here we go. And again, this doesn't matter what zodiac sign you are. Just take this in and know that this is universal. So we're going to start very quickly with the recap of the planet Pluto entering Aquarius, which began mildly going in spring in the Western Hemisphere, March, April, May, June 2023, 24, 25. It was moving through into Aquarius. There were some moments where it did retrograde back into Capricorn for a while, but it was fully into Aquarius in 2025. It started to activate all of the increased strong desire for transformation, because Aquarius has to do with upgrading and making positive changes. It's also the sign of alchemy and the sign of brotherly love and honesty, transparency, and making things much more efficient and more realistic and more transformational for the world and for ourselves. So a lot of ways this really activated the base or the foundation of what I'm going to talk about today. And this astrology cycle, Pluto in the sign of Aquarius, is going to last all the way up through 2041. And that only would happen maybe 248 years. This Pluto has gone into Aquarius. So now the second planet is Uranus. So Uranus has a cycle of approximately every 84 years, and it went into the sign of Gemini. Gemini and Aquarius are air signs. So they make what we call a half of a triangle. It's a 120-degree angle called a trine. That is extremely favorable. That means that both of these planets are in a positive relationship with each other. They're enhancing each other's movement and action. And this planet is connected to the sign of Aquarius. So each planet is tied to a zodiac sign, its very own zodiac sign. Or we could flip it. Each zodiac sign is connected to its very own planet. And there are some similar characteristics. So the planet Uranus is all about acceleration, alchemy, freedom, and change. It loves transparency, honesty, and basically to just get things out in the open and problem solve honestly and objectively, and let's progress. It is also a planet of revolution and a rebelliousness. If there was any planet that was going to be marked as a rogue planet, going rogue and not conforming to the old archaic ways, this would be Uranus. So this planet moved into the brilliant mind of God sign of Gemini. For all you Geminis out there, it's going to activate your sun signs, and we'll go into that in another video. but it started last July 2025. And like I said, it lasts approximately 7 to 8 years. So every time Uranus goes into a brand new zodiac sign, it's moving through that sign in order to upgrade it, to trigger it, and to cause it to be more active in the world, you see, and to take note of it, all the characteristics of that zodiac sign. So every zodiac sign has a list of characteristics and personality. Gemini is communication and mind and consciousness in the mental capacity, not necessarily always the spiritual. But because Uranus has a sort of a transcendental quality to it, it's going to activate our minds in the study of consciousness out in the world, probably, I would say, more than you've ever seen before. Discussing this. How is consciousness? What is consciousness? Um, it also increases extraordinary forms of communication and getting information and data back and forth to each other, such as our cell phones and our email and our computer systems, and transferring data and downloading data and having access to data and facts and information. It's going to trigger and accelerate all these things. Also, it is really taking the AI to the next level. This is very important because Uranus rules technology and space in the future. And by the way, the Master Saint Germain and the Aquarian Age and all things that are pertaining to alchemy and transformational positive change are tied to the planet Uranus and the sign of Aquarius. And so if this is increasing during this time in the sign of Gemini, so this Uranus is pouring its power into the zodiac sign of Gemini, which is information, data, and communication, then you can understand the next obvious level would be, what do we do with AI? How can we handle this? And where do we see it going? And how can we not allow it to get carried away? So networking information, knowledge dissemination, all of these things are going to be activated. Also, greater inspiration towards liberation and freedom. Now, that is the sign of an Uranus in action. But in Gemini, it's not just the thought or concept of it, because that's always there out in the world. In the sign of Gemini, it could create bills and it could create political transformational change for freedom and greater progress. It could cause documents to be published, an increase of conversation of Uranus ruling groups and teams, communities, feeling more unity in agreeing upon how to move forward with greater liberation. It also will increase the discussion of efficiency and improving on life and in all ways. So now Pluto, remember, is in Aquarius, Uranus' zodiac sign. So Pluto is moving through the sign of Aquarius till 2041. Uranus belongs to Aquarius, so there's sort of already a symbiotic flow going back and forth, but it's in a positive connection, a trine, 120-degree angle, which is extremely favorable to the planet Uranus. What Pluto tends to do is it pours power and determination, will, and like a silent undercurrent of a machine or a motor moving into a direction. It's driven, it's relentless, it doesn't push like Mars. It's just a steady confidence when it is in a trine that it will establish its outcome or goal, and it's targeting Uranus, which is all this communication, brilliant mind of God kind of stuff. Okay, now we're going to add the third planet, Neptune. Neptune is our idealistic, inspirational, spiritual planet of divine love. It's very ethereal on the positive sense. We're only going to talk about the positives of these planets right now because they're all in positive aspects, okay? So it's moving into the sign of Aries. Aries is the warrior, it's the idealist, it's very fiery, it wants to prove oneself power and effectiveness by taking action. It's all about let's get up and do this. It instigates, it launches, it initiates new cycles, it starts a new business, it brings people together, it publishes its first book. It like these are for people individually. You could feel this power to like believe and dream in an ideal and just hope and say, what the heck? What do we have to lose? Let's just do this. And so Neptune creates the vision and the feeling of like an inspiration, like this is what I'm getting right now. Why don't we just try it? So this planet Neptune moved into Aries in March 31st, 2025. And that is going to continue till May 2038. So from 2025 to 2038, Neptune is inspiring everybody to give it a try, okay? And that there's a feeling and an inspiration and a connection with a higher realm that's added, enhanced with this Neptune, because that's just Neptune's nature. So we're dealing with an increased strong urge all over the world to unify together for higher ideals. Because why unify? Because this Neptune is also connecting, coincidentally, to Uranus and Pluto. Now, what makes planets connect to other planets? You always hear about transits and somebody's transiting planets to their birth chart, and lots of people get forecasts. Probably the majority of sessions that I do are people that just want to know what's going to happen in the next year ahead. So it's the planet in the sky is going through a zodiac sign that is numbered by 0 to 29 degrees in the sky. Once it hits 29 degrees, it jumps to the next zodiac sign, because there's 30 degrees with every zodiac sign. So the planets are ideally, allegedly moving through each one of these signs, and each one has its own rate of transiting, the speed that it takes. So if Neptune moves between 0 and 5 degrees Aries, which is what happened from last March 2025 through 2026, 2027 approximately. Uranus last July moved into 0 to 5 degrees Gemini last July, August, September 2025 through 2026 into part of 2020, most of 2027. Pluto moved in 2024. I believe it might have started a tiny bit at 0 degrees Aquarius, March, April, May 2024, if I'm not mistaken, but definitely 0 to 5 degrees Aquarius 2025, 26, 27. 0 to 5 degrees, every single one of them. That's the key right there, because these planets, when are they ever going to be in those numbers again, all at the same time? That's amazing to me, and amazing to most astrologers. So Neptune now is going to be making in Aries a 60-degree angle to the planet Pluto and a 60-degree angle to the planet Uranus on the other side. So Neptune's stuck in between the Uranus on one side, the Pluto on the other, and Pluto is in a 120-degree angle to Uranus. So they're all making a nice relationship. And so we can see on the screen what this is going to look like when you capture it in a wheel. So all three of these slow-moving outer planets in our solar system are in a rare, beautiful relationship with each other. Neptune inspiration, Uranus intellectually high acceleration with communication and ideas and data, liberation, freedom, conversations about freedom and upgrading. Pluto, the power that is fueling a lot of the revolutionary transformational change that's happening on the planet since till 2041. They're all connected. Now, transiting Uranus, sextile Neptune, the technology, transformational change, planet Uranus, combined with Neptune's higher idealism and spiritual compassion and inspirational desire to believe in a dream. And I would like to also add that sometimes a very strong Neptune especially in the sign of Aries, can initiate new science, medical, space, technology, engineering, mathematics breakthroughs, because of the nature of Neptune is associated with the planet Pisces. And many times we find Pisces in the sciences, biology, medical, chemistry, liquids, and exotic technology. Same with Uranus. So you can imagine the combination of these supersized, all these planets are really increasing the capacity to bring us into a higher age. But we don't want to forget our humanness. I'm all about that. So let's continue. So all of this Neptune increases consciousness exploration in and out of this dimension. I know this already exists, but what I think it's going to do, because of Uranus and Gemini, the communication, it's going to bring it out into the open where it becomes mainstream, discussing about all these phenomenon that certain corporations and communities have possessed for decades now, but they've kept it hidden. But now it's being discussed. And there was one excellent YouTube video by Jesse Michaels where he spent time going through all of these technologies involving even other dimensional phenomenon and equipment, and it's incredible. I'll try to remember to link it on the bottom of this video, but I really am grateful that he put the time in to make that video. That was a rare video, and it was just recently. I believe it was early June or late May 2026. All right, so all of this is happening with Uranus in a sextile to Neptune. August 2025 to June 6, 2027 is the length of that action, of all of this easy flowing discussion, communication, sharing, and a collaboration among people, whether it's people like you and me, or physicists or scientists or politicians or whoever. They're discussing this, and it's becoming mainstream because these planets are connected. Transiting Uranus in Gemini, trine Pluto in Aquarius. Now this cycle is, by the way, this transit of Uranus, excuse me, sextile Neptune is making exact peaks between June 24, 2026 up to July 15, 16, 17. It's peaking exact. That means it's at its most potent release of transformational change on the planet and in your life too. So you want to harness these energies. You want to take advantage of them, because these aren't going to happen every day. These are big deals. It continues all the way up to August 6, 2026. So then it doesn't go away. It just lessens its dynamic obviousness, power of it. Okay, now we're on the second one, Uranus trine in Gemini, trine Pluto in Aquarius. This cycle goes from July 4 to July 30, and it is exactly peaking. It really, really kicks in July 1, and it peaks on July 16th, 17th, 18th of 2026, and it leaves on August 1, 2, 3, okay? This 2026. And it will return again. Several of these keep returning. They come in cycles. So it'll come back again in November 29, 2026. It'll be exact again. So anyway, there will be write-ups on our Star Drops, and I welcome you to join our newsletter. Link is at the bottom of the video, because I'm constantly reminding people when we're back in one of these heightened opportunities to advance your life again. And you don't want to miss it. They'll come weekly in your inbox. So there's Uranus trine Gemini, Uranus in Gemini trine Pluto. It is going to be the energy that cuts us free from a spell. It all feels like we're in a dream, like people have told me that over and over again for the past 15 years. Somehow this life doesn't feel real all of a sudden. Something's altered, something's different. But this is supposed to be cutting us free into going into more and more as if we were getting accustomed to an ethereal dimension where new senses are activated, new trusting in our communication with our higher self. And it increases the sensitivities of positive outcomes and positive things happening, manifesting in our life. It's cutting us free. That's the action of a Uranus in a trine, is it cuts us free somehow from the past, and it accelerates us into beautiful new things for the future. So whatever it is, that make your list, maybe 3 to 5 bullet points of things that have been going on too long that you just wonder, how am I ever going to get over this and move beyond this stuck space? Make that list and write it in the affirmation that I am so grateful that I have, or that I am, or this has happened and it was easy. So you want to write it in the present tense so that the subconscious and all of the mechanisms of the brain are literally believing that it's actually already happened and you've achieved it according to God's will, according to my divine plan, according to Archangel Michael, whatever you would like to say at the end of it. But definitely start meditating on this. Like, what is it that I could get liberated from, and finally cut through on this cycle and make it happen? So this cycle of Uranus increases the capacity for some to feel that they are being released, almost as if they were had been under some sort of a spell. Some even would call it a curse or a hex. Now, we don't want to go into all of that right now, but we don't want to focus on those things. We want to be liberated from anything that is a lower vibration. Their brain power, their intelligence could feel stronger, expansive, clear. What seemed impossible a month to 5 months ago or a year ago now seems like, what was wrong with me? I could just do this right now. Okay, the next one, transiting Neptune in Aries, making a sextile to Pluto. So this cycle is peaking July 1 to 20, and Neptune sextile Pluto. Okay, this started to come in on June 10, and it peaks exact, let's see, hold on one second, I want to get this accurate here. July 15th through the 30th, peaking on July 24. And it looks like it is making a second exact hit on maybe not. Okay, so it's running, it literally is running. Oh, wait, here it is. It's making another exact hit on September 16. That's really a big deal. So it's going to hit twice in a very potent release of what I'm going to tell you here. This has to do again with idealism mixed with the cooperation of people in power or influence in your life, or that are helpful or somehow have the capacity or the wherewithal to advance your dreams. This could happen all over the world with other people in power, leaders, important individuals that have affluence or the financing or whatever, to pour money or pour ideas and helpfulness, friendship into other people's dreams. So in general, we could even say that it's our dream being answered by a higher self and a higher consciousness at a higher realm, because Pluto can equal power being released into something. And a sextile is a 60-degree angle. Sextiles mean relationships. It means that we are joining with our highest goals and higher self with somebody else or something else that is fueling power into it to get it done. It can increase also the desire for greater harmony, divine love. It can increase the conversation and the discussion of telepathy and increase our sensitivity to spiritual energies and realms. It denotes cooperative intelligence, and that means that there is a stronger capacity for when we're interacting with each other. If there's any kind of inharmony or getting triggered, something else could override it and insert itself in your mind that says, hold on, pull back. There's another option that you can take versus getting into an argument or altercation or polarizing with this person or this situation. Let's think of a creative way to solve this problem. So it helps us think outside the human ego and the human brain. It also, like these others, increases the capacity to work on exotic technologies, science, medicine, healing, disease breakthroughs, and revelations, truth coming out regarding all kinds of medical things. So now, okay, we've got all those big planets. Now we're going to add, right now I do want to go to adding Mars, because the most important cycle of this intensity of release of planets would be on July 3, 4, 5, and then continuing to build up to July 16, 17, 18. And then the next one after that is 21, 22, 23 July. So those are the marked moments. But the 4th of July is such a big deal because Mars, which is a pushing planet, it pushes, drives, it can be aggressive, it can be assertive, it has a force behind it, and it does rule Aries, okay? So that's the connection of those two planets and signs, that planet and that sign. So Mars is going to go into the zodiac sign Gemini, and that has, it might have already happened, I don't know. Let's see. I should know this. So Mars has moves into Gemini. Oh, that's amazing. Exactly on the full moon and the Mercury retrograde, which we'll go into June 29. So June 29, Mars goes into Gemini, and it's going to connect exactly in the same space as Uranus. When Mars and Uranus are conjoined, we're dealing with a supernatural thrust of revolutionary breakthroughs on the planet. I'm just getting chills thinking about this energy, because at the same time, they're both trining Pluto, remember? They're both sextiling Neptune. It's amazing to me. So this combo of Mars, Uranus, Neptune, Jupiter happening now, the first week of July, peaking on the 4th of July. And this is for the whole world. This is a breakthrough and an explosion of excitement and clarity of vision for all humanity on the 4th of July. Doesn't matter where you live and who you are. This energy, this intensity of excitement is a novel, unconventional event erupting on the world's scene. For us personally, expect an increase of excitement and dynamic new way of thinking going on inside of you personally. It's like a new start in your life. There's going to be a focus again on mind, IQ, like spiritual IQ. That's how I see it. Intellectual comprehension, being able to wrap our minds around a new vision, a new understanding, increasing our understanding of information that's important to us, where we finally get it and we understand it. And Mars loves targeting issues which require fixing, especially since it's going to be trining Pluto in Aquarius, which likes to upgrade. And it likes to transform situations, existing conditions, making them better, like improving on everything. So it's going to connect with that. Mars loves this, and it is going to instigate powerful meetings, powerful confrontations, which expose the lies, deception, the dysfunction, any kind of delusions, anything in the past. It brings it out, pop, like a explosion. There can come with it some impatience within conversations and extremely intense, deliberate messages sent to others or issues brought up which might be difficult for others to handle, listening to. So if it's right, it's clear, and it's correct information, then we all need to pay attention, drop our egos, and accept the truth of something, and then move forward from that platform on. Globally, anything which involves world leaders, dynamic ideas, announcements on the 4th of July or thereabouts, a document signed or displayed, a major declaration or decision made by one in authority. That can happen. It could be an incident which triggers a cascading conversation of new awareness and discovery of truth, in-depth information which had to happen and be dealt with now. The intensity of all these dates so far is very high. You can feel it in the air. In general, we're entering a month of dynamic change, upgrading, unconventional revelations announced, and personal, dynamic urgency to change one's life in some way. Doesn't even mean it has to be huge. It could be a small little thing. Possibly your business, your work environment, relationships, your home, your family. Something's going to be like a radical change to bring greater efficiency, logic, functionality, common sense, intelligence in your life in some way. That should increase a sense of bravery, and I'll explain why in a minute. And that's because of Jupiter. Bravery and taking a risk, taking a chance. There is no way all these planetary energies could flow through these months and not impact the world around you. There's no way. So now let's go back into the planet Jupiter. No, wait, I want to do Mercury. Let's get Mercury out of the way. So there's a Mercury retrograde, and there is a full moon happening also exactly on June 29 through July 14. Then the full moon goes to July 14. The Mercury retrograde goes up to July 23, I believe. Let me just make sure. Yes. Okay, so in the Mercury, in the full moon period, let's take that first. The full moon is at 8 degrees Capricorn, and it's going to be making a 90-degree angle called a square, which is a bit rough, to Neptune. What that means is that there's the fullness of some dysfunction has come to a head. People have absolutely had it with the dysfunction, and they want to address it. They want to call it out. They're creating plans or discussions or feeling it out. How are we going to change this? And all those other planets we talked about will help. At the same time that this full moon is happening, and it will last a couple weeks. So it builds and builds and builds for months. It could even build for months, but especially the past 2 weeks since the last new moon, it'll build and build in a momentum, and then it comes to a fullness, like the cresting of a river, and the water pours out. It just overflows. Like emotionally, it's like, okay, we've had it. And it's in the sign of Capricorn, which is systems. Where are the systems? Where's the order? How is this not functional yet? Why are we still dealing with this? It has to do with blueprints, outlines, systems, functionality, achieving the next level, climbing the ladder. Think of the goat climbing the rugged, peaked mountain all the way to the top. That's Capricorn. And it's square Neptune. In the lower level of Neptune is dysfunction and deception and evasiveness and spaced out and lies or avoidance, escapism. And so the sun moon on that day is calling this out in your personal life and in the world. So that's what's happening on the full moon. So then at the same time, Mercury, it's almost like Mercury comes to the rescue. Mercury retrograde, everyone who knows me knows my theory about Mercury retrogrades. What they do is they give us a sense of inspiration, of wanting to be open to a download of an instruction. Because Mercury is the messenger of the gods. Every time Mercury slows down or appears to slow down in the sky, it slows down and releases something to us. It has to slow down and stop, look like it's stopping, and then it dumps a guidance or an insight or pushes us through somehow getting an amazing idea in our mind. Oh, I need to do this. I need to go call this person. I need to go buy this book. I need to write this report. I need to do something with my kids. Like it just keeps coming and coming, the same insight. And then once we act on it, what my experience has been, I've never regretted it. If it's in, especially the one that it's happening now, because it's connected to Jupiter and in Cancer, the very last degree of Cancer, and that is very strong domestic security, money, family, food, well-being, safety, abundance. It's activating a message to us that is going to get us in the right frame of mind to move forward with some level of security and reestablishing like a sense of safety and fulfillment emotionally in our personal life, what we need now. That Mercury will help us get order out of the dysfunction. So if there's a way you can look at your natal chart and notice where the sign Cancer is around your chart, it'll be two little crabs and two little claws, or two little, it looks like a crab. That's your Cancer. And you want to insert the Jupiter, which is an expansive attitude of abundance in Cancer, and Mercury right next to it in that house. We have 1 to 12 houses. And that house is an environment that is also going to enhance that where it's happening. So the zodiac sign tells us what it's going to feel like and look like, but it's going to pour into a house, which is where it's happening in your life. So that would be so awesome to place your Mercury and Jupiter in the sign of Cancer, in the zodiac house in your birth chart, where you have Cancer, the symbol, on that area of the wheel. Okay, and that would be awesome. So, and if you don't know what the houses mean, on the navigation bar on starfires.com at the top, just look for the Mastery tab, and it can take you right into the description of what all the houses mean. So we have that going on, and that is the instigation of guidance and a prompt, and I love it. So that is happening all the way into July 23. Okay, so then what we've got is at the same time, more at the end of this Mercury retrograde, it's going to make a favorable connection to Venus. It's going to make a sextile. And that is going to be very strong July 20 to 26. And that is more love. That's loving, beauty, art, music, an event, a special experience. So it's sort of like our reward for all of the concentration and hard thinking that we're going to be doing in the beginning of the month. In the midst of all these powerful planets, we have Mercury retro guiding our minds towards one plan that stands out in your world, one concept, the idea, the blueprint that keeps reoccurring over and over every day until we begin to follow through. It's in a positive aspect for support, collaboration with others, outings, events, fun, love, relationship building, and it's directly or indirectly people being accepting of you, nice to you, kinder, grateful. It's an increase of friendliness and love. It can also increase financial opportunities. So this cycle, beginning mid-June to the end of June, increases and increases as you move to the last 2 weeks of July. Now, the next thing we want to talk about is going to be the Jupiter going into Leo on the 30th of June, and it's going to last 1 year. But again, it's going to start 0 to 5 degrees, Leo. So think again of those numbers. Now, this is all matching up. It's a time of expansive feelings of gratitude because it's trining Neptune in Aries. A sense of hopefulness, a good fortune coming in the air, where activities, situations, and events in one's life begin to fall nicely into place. Jupiter in Leo expands love, confidence, courage, and leadership in many areas of our lives. It increases quality of life. It is good in general for launching new things, beginning new cycles, new relationships, new businesses, or feeling one is being looked out after. It enhances humanity's ability to grasp particular physics, science, spiritual consciousness. It can open the way for advanced technology, yet there is an ethereal, invisible ether energy that is involved in the use of some form of technology that could come out of this. So what is Jupiter in Leo? And by the way, this power is July 15th through the 30th and exact on July 20, 2026. See how many of these big planets are all lining up on the same dates. Jupiter in Leo is more about a personality type. It has to do with management, administration, leadership, delegating responsibility, running a company, running a community. It has to do with running your life, feeling confident, more expansive, courageous, brave, and feeling that I somehow intuitively, divinely feel I deserve this. And it's not about, it is about one's worth, but that's a Taurus thing. Leo is more about expressing it and performing in life. Where am I going to show up and perform? How is it going to come out? It also has to do a lot to do with fun, vacations, love, romance, and children, events, holidays, travel, pleasure, and indulgences. So Jupiter in Leo for 1 year is going to expand and set a concentration on a lot of those things too. And let's keep going because it's going to also sextile Uranus, and that is in a Gemini, the communication. So Jupiter enhances the opportunity between July 15 to July 30, peaking July 21, to connect with like-minded people, because sextiles connect people. It builds relationships. It can enhance finding the right relationship, partnership, love, business partners, depending on what is going on with your birth chart. In your personal birth chart, it should set a stage for more of an opportunity to grow and feel confident. I can pull this off. I can meet these people. I can expand. I can do this. So if Jupiter is in a square to some planet in your birth chart, even though it's in a sextile and trine in the sky, you do have to be a little bit more cautious, okay? But just the fact that it is in such a favorable position in the sky, I would rarely say this, but even if you have it in a square in your birth chart, even around that date that you might target it, and if you know your cycles this July, a Jupiter square Venus, Jupiter square Mars, Jupiter square Sun, they have their own little story, and we need to be cautious not to overextend ourselves in some way and be super, super cautious with our budget, our money, our people that we commit to, and plans and all that, because it can end up being costly, more than we thought, or more trouble than we thought, or the other people's judgments on how to execute something wasn't quite exactly what we expected. But because the planets are in good aspect all over the sky, it could be very forgiving. It could be probably workable and not the end of the world. So, so this beautiful energy can also shield us and protect us from making big mistakes if we have hard aspects in our birth chart, transits to our birth chart. You need to know if you're having any Jupiter squares during July, and if you are, these transits we are talking about here could still work for you. But when it comes down to specific relationship trusting issues, I would be more cautious. The love, the business, the partnerships, the arrangement might feel amazing for a time, but afterwards, if you have a square, only if you have a square, and you need to know if you do, then it will turn out a little tiny bit discouraging or disappointing. But this beautiful Jupiter trine or sextile Uranus in Leo, a Jupiter Leo trine Neptune is amazing. I just think it is enhancing the entire July rundown of planets that we already talked about. Oh, and Jupiter is also sextiling Mars. And that is a action, physical body action, get up, go, call someone, go drive, take a vacation, go have this meeting, or instigate this plan, call everybody together. We're going to all do this. It could be outings. It could be, even something little. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be some big epic thing. You know how we're all so busy and overwhelmed with what's going on in the world. To have a Jupiter sextile and trine during these dates is really, really nice because it kind of causes time and space to stop and give us a break and create a different scenario of relief and adventure in our life with people we enjoy. And then once that unlocks from each other, it's like right back to the same old thing again. Only remember, this time it's at a higher level. Okay, so Jupiter is also going to make one conflicting opposition to Pluto. So of all the planets we talked about today, they're all good except this one is in opposition. That means we're polarizing with something. So between July 15 and July 30, peaking exactly July 20, same dates as all the others, there's something though a little wrong. Okay, so is it really bad? It doesn't have to be. It's a different perspective. It's somebody's different opinion. It has to do with a polarizing opinion and attitude, most likely, or a cultural opposition. And we want a win-win out of these, but Jupiter is not an aggressive planet. It just has a lot of opinions. And it could be globally a culture. It could be a culture. It could be a religious ideology. It could be something that has been done for hundreds and thousands of years. And it's polarizing with Pluto, which is some other force that wants to transform it, change it, upgrade it, eliminate it, or reform it. And the two are at odds with each other. So that's basically it in a nutshell. So you can just take that opposition at that time and look out for it in your own personal life and just don't let it happen. Okay? Transiting Jupiter later on, August 20 to August 31st, will make a trine to Saturn, which is super nice because it stabilizes our life and it calms everything down and it helps us see the fruits of our labor all June, July, and first part of August. That is the cycle right at the end of August where we sit back and go, oh my goodness, look at everything that changed for the better. Look at everything that happened and that we got through. So that is it for July. I thank you so much for hanging in there and watching this. And it was an absolute pleasure working on this and getting all these details out. And please click on the link for the next video, which is taking these planets and more and how they apply to every one of your individual sun signs. So see you later and have an amazing, epic July.